let's hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some freaking money. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. We got a loaded day out there on the ice, and it's time for Pocket with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV, on X, and on YouTube. Now, if you guys can do me a solid, hit that like button, hit that retweet button, and hit that subscribe button over on YouTube so you get notifications on when we are going live. Sorry, we're a couple minutes late. It was just so many games that I wanted to make sure I would give you as much detail as possible. Now, we know with this many games, it's going to be a long show. So if you just want to come back for the recap, I 100% do not blame you. Coming back for that recap, I will make sure I post that time after. Jeffrey, good to see you here again today. Yes, absolutely doing well on this loaded Tuesday out there on the ice. So let's kick it off, you guys. We're going to start here with the matchup between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, the Flyers have been putting up the goals. We saw a crazy game versus Edmonton. They were able to score 6 goals on Edmonton. Owen Tippett came out nice and strong, and that was their Saturday matchup. Now they're at home, minus 137 here on the money line, facing a Pittsburgh Penguins team that we know the struggles out of this team. While Sidney Crosby has been playing great, we are seeing this team really struggle defensively. There's only so much a goaltender can do, and without the support from their defense, it's really hard for them to be able to have solid numbers on the season. So looking at the Pittsburgh Penguins, they're plus 114 on the money line. If you do think they can roll into Philadelphia and get the win. Now, this total sitting at 5.5, which I was shocked by that we're not getting a 6 here. 5.5 at minus 120 to the over. Now, we look at the inability of Pittsburgh to keep that puck out of the back of the net. Over the weekend, they did allow 13 total goals, which just isn't a winning recipe to be able to get things done. And when we look at the Flyers, like I said, they're able to put up 6 goals versus the Edmonton Oilers. Looking at the overall, how these teams have done as of late, the Flyers winning their last 2, and the Pittsburgh Penguins, they've lost their last 3. Sunday's loss was to the New York Rangers, 5-3. They're home versus the Flyers on Thursday, and then versus the Bruins on Saturday. So we do see these teams play again in just a couple of days. 8th in the Metro versus 7th in the Metro, with the Flyers sitting 7th in the Metro. We're going to see these teams battle it out, and I do think with how the defense is with the Pittsburgh Penguins, but also with how the Flyers can be as well. I think you look at the over 1.5 goals in the first period for both of these teams to come out nice and strong. The over 1.5 goals is coming in at minus 110, and both teams to score in the first period at plus 190. I love both of those bets. And I really do think you look at some playmakers here. Now, these two teams did just play before the break. Before the break, we saw the Flyers win that low scoring one. I'm expecting this to be a higher scoring one. So there are players that I'm looking at definitely tonight. Now, you look at Sidney Crosby here for the anytime goal. You know he wants to roll hot. He was able to get a goal over the weekend in that first game versus the Washington Capitals. His anytime goal coming in at plus 165. He has 60 points in 57 games on the season. So Sidney Crosby has been rolling nice and hot out there, 18 goals and 42 assists. So give me Sidney Crosby for the anytime goal at plus 165. Now, you want to look at Raquel as well. Raquel has 49 points, so give me Raquel for point number 50 tonight. It's kind of juicy at minus 138. If you want to take, and this is what I did, I took Sidney Crosby for point and Raquel for the point parlay together. It's coming in at plus 111. You got to love those plus 111 numbers. As soon as I get odds putting me there, I definitely take them. Loving those angel numbers. So Sid and Raquel for the point tonight parlay together at plus 111. When we look at the other side, because we know the Flyers will be able to score tonight because the Penguins, we know that defense has so many struggles. So Konecki coming in here with 62 points. He's got 22 goals and 40 assists. Now, Michkov, the rookie sensation out there on the ice, is where I'm going to look tonight. He has 39 points on the season. Give me point number 40 for Michkov here. He's got 17 goals and 22 assists. He's really been the strong point here for the Flyers, and you will look for the Pittsburgh Penguins to try to shut him down, but he's been very strong out there on the ice. And then we know this past weekend, Owen Tippett really stepped up. 32 points for Owen Tippett, 16 goals and 16 assists. So I won't be shocked if Owen Tippett's able to get a point on the board as well. So Michkov is my favorite player to circle tonight for the point for the Flyers. He, again, is coming up to 40 points if he's able to score this tonight. And then on the other side, it's Raquel for point number 50. You could even parlay both of those if you want to do a player on each side. Raquel and Michkov for the point. And then taking here Sid and Raquel for a point at plus 111. But I do think Sid gets that goal and Raquel gets the assist. He has 24 assists and 25 goals. He could even get the goal, you guys. Good morning, Kev. Happy Thursday. Let's get going. Yeah, if you guys can hit that like button, the retweet button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Yeah, Jamie, great to see the LA Kings nicely rolling in that game last night. And that was a crazy game because we went into that third looking like we had every possibility of staying under that total like I had hoped, as well as going to OT. I would have loved to have seen that one go to OT. We had it at plus 290, but did have the LA Kings to get the win. So it was a great game for them out there on the ice. I can't believe how bad we saw Vegas defensively fall apart in that third period. So good morning to you as well, Vinny. Okay, you cashed big, you parlayed Stone, Kempe, and the Kings money line. Sharks first period over 1.5 at plus 120, and Shifley anytime goal. Wow, great job yesterday in those. So the Wild over. The Wild should be in for a good game tonight. So let's jump into the next one here. We have the Dallas Stars taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets, and I'm not denying the Columbus Blue Jackets their goals tonight. Columbus at home has been so freaking hot, you guys. I do think they're worth a shot here on the money line at plus 150. We got the Dallas Stars. I know how strong this team is. With Jake Ottinger in net, they're rolling in at minus 182 on the money line on the road. The Columbus Blue Jackets at plus 150. This team is special this season. You know they're playing for Johnny Gaudreau. Every home environment is second to none out there. I would love to be at a home game for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, a total sitting at 6.5, the juice to the total coming in on the under. When I look at this matchup here, we've seen the Dallas Stars score at least 4 goals in 4 of their last 4 games. So the Dallas Stars have been scoring those goals. Their problem here is they've allowed too many teams to either get up on them early or come back on them late. So while the Dallas Stars have been lucky, and we're saying lucky to win their last 3 games and a handful before that last loss, I'm looking at them and I just can't lay that kind of price. And I look at Columbus and I look at their ability to score at home. And I do think this is where you want to take them. Columbus also fighting for a wild card spot, you guys, with the Ottawa Senators. So you're looking at that. You're looking at they're going to bring everything they have. They're off a win at home versus Chicago on the weekend. They got that 5-1 win. It was a beautiful win out of them. They're on the road Thursday versus the Red Wings and then Saturday versus the Red Wings at home. So they have that road home ahead of them versus the Red Wings. We have seen the Dallas Stars win their last 3. Sunday versus the Isles was their last win. It was a 4-3 win versus the Isles in a game that I expected to be a lot lower scoring on that. They do have the Kings on deck at home on Friday. This is their 6th and final game on the road. And yes, the last 2 that we saw out of them was since the break. So they did have that break in between. Still, it's a lot of games out there on the road without being in your home arena. So I do think that works against them. But you look at it, they are 8-1-1 in their last 10, and that includes before that break for the 4 Nations. So this team has been hot. They won that last meeting on their home ice versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. It was 5-3. Yeah, 5-3 win out of them. So we've seen that recency where they've been able to get that win. We know Jason Robinson rolled absolutely hot. A hat trick in the second period versus the Isles in that game, really putting a coffin in the Isles, but a nail in the coffin, that's to say. So, but I do think here it's got to be Columbus over 2.5 goals. You're not laying that much juice. It's coming in at minus 122. So even in their loss in the last matchup by Columbus to the Stars, we still saw them go over the 2.5 goals. They were able to hit 3. So I love that minus 122. Now, I also think it's just worth a look. It's worth a sprinkle plus 150 for this team at home on that money line. Okay, let's get into Raquel 2 points. He's 2 points away from 500 career points. You know, Mo, we are taking Raquel all day for 2 points tonight. That is absolutely the best information. Thank you for that. So not only, you guys, is Raquel here of the Pittsburgh Penguins sitting 1 point away from 50. He's sitting 2 points away from 500. Definitely hit Raquel for 2+ points tonight. 2+ points for Raquel, because now I have to look that up, you guys. I cannot wait to get this bet in. I'm going to get it in right when we talk here. Raquel for 2+ points is locked up at the moment. So as soon as that opens up, you guys, we will be looking at Raquel for 2+ points. The power play point for Raquel is coming in at +330. I do think Raquel for power play point is another solid way to look here versus the Philadelphia Flyers. So I would be all over Raquel now that you're telling me he's coming up for 2 points away from 500. So plus 575 for him and Crosby, 2+ points on DK. Yeah, definitely somewhere you want to hit for sure. So I love where you're going with that. It's a great way to go. Okay, there you guys go. Mo gave you a nice little sprinkle there for Raquel for the 2+ points. Let's talk Toronto. The Toronto Maple Leafs are taking on the Boston Bruins. And let me just get back to that page on FanDuel. This is going to be interesting because Toronto finally rolled into Chicago and got a win in their last game out. Now they have to face another original 16 here in the Boston Bruins, and they're coming in. The Boston Bruins at +128 on the money line at home, -154 here for the Leafs on the road. I don't want to lay that on the Leafs. You guys know that. We got a total of 5.5, -122 to the over 5.5, and +100 to the under. This has to be playoff style hockey. I'm not going to touch the total though. The Leafs have really struggled in Boston, but they struggled in Chicago before and were able to get that win in their last game out. They got the 5-2 win after a slow start. We did see Chicago get up to that fast lead and Toronto be able to fight their way back. Chicago went into the second period with Toronto up 1-0. So the Blackhawks were kicking themselves. The Leafs really nicely fought their way back. Now, when we look at the Leafs, the last time they faced here, the Boston Bruins, they were able to get a 6-4 win. They have been strong in the divisional matchup. So they're sitting first in the Atlantic. We know here Boston's sitting sixth. In divisional matchups, the Leafs have gone 11-5-1. Divisional matchups here for Boston hasn't been their strong suit, 9-6-2 on the season, but they've been really solid at home, you guys, 18-9-4. Solid road record, though, for Toronto as well, 15-9-2. So it's going to be interesting because you've got Austin Matthews coming back to Boston, where he was playing in the Four Nations, where he struggled to score on Jordan Binnington in overtime. He had 3 really beautiful opportunities, and Binnington denied him. And now he's going to take that frustration out coming into Boston on Swayman. Will Swayman be able to deny Austin Matthews? Probably not. I do think Austin Matthews should be able to get something done. But the Leafs, I can't touch the Leafs. And I do think it's worth a look on Boston just with how they have played them. The Leafs are also 5-12 in the last 7 meetings versus them, and they're also 2-7 in the last 9 in Boston. So when we look at them, we look at the home ice advantage, the home team winning the last 5 meetings. I've got to go with the Bruins with that plus money. Now, one thing you could look at is the Bruins to fight their way back. Brad Marchand, I think, is going to come out nice and strong for his team in this matchup, and Morgan Geekie. I would look at both of those players for their points parlay together. I won't be shocked if Brad Marchand does get that goal tonight. Now, he was playing on Team Canada with Mitch Marner. Now, Mitch Marner will be on the other side with Austin Matthews. So it's going to be great out there because you saw Mitch Marner. He's always been chirped by Brad Marchand, and then they had to play on the same team. It was interesting to see them out there together, but look for that chirping again. And then when we look at this matchup, we do have goaltending-wise Stolarz versus Swayman. These teams trend to that under because it is playoff style hockey out there. I do expect this one to stay under that total. 8-2 in the last 8 meetings in Boston, 6-2 in the last 8 meetings in Boston to the under, and 6-2-1 in the last 9 meetings overall. I just can't see this being a high scoring. And Geekie for the power play. Yeah, he has been moved up to that top power play, and I do think he's going to excel there as well. Jamie rolling with the Maple Leafs money line, the Florida Panthers money line. Yeah, you know Florida wants that bounce back off their loss to the Kraken. The Lightning money line, the Flames money line, and the Penguins money line. So I like where you're going, Jamie. I definitely think you're on the money for a lot of those bets. Let's look at those Calgary Flames. They're taking on the Washington Capitals, and this is a must win here for the Calgary Flames, like every game, as they're trying to make a wild card spot this season. Now, they've overperformed what we expected out of the Calgary Flames, and the road has been where their inconsistencies come. At home, Calgary's been a bet on for me. They're able to get the win versus the San Jose Sharks in a tight battle on Sunday. It was a 3-2 win for the Calgary Flames. Now they're facing a red-hot Washington Capitals with Ovechkin rolling hot, looking to hit Wayne Gretzky's record. Now not Wayne Gretzky, Ovi's coming off that hat trick in his last game out. He had a stellar performance out there on the ice, and now the Washington Capitals are a $2 favorite on that money line. It's unbettable. We know that. Laying the puck line -1.5 is coming in at +120. The Calgary Flames at +168 and a total of 6.5. The juice to the total is on the under at -134. I did like this at a 5.5 to the over at a 6.5. I'm going to stay off this total. Dustin Wolf or Dan Vladar. We are expected Dustin Wolf in goal tonight for the Calgary Flames. He has been stellar between the pipes at home, but we have seen that disconnect out there on the road. Logan Thompson expected here for the Washington Capitals. Now the Capitals have been flying so high, so hot offensively, winning their last 2 games. Sunday, they got the 7-3 win over the Edmonton Oilers, and Saturday, the 8-3 win over the Pittsburgh Penguins. With how weak the kill is here for the Calgary Flames and how strong the power play is for the Washington Capitals, sitting 10th in the league, you would expect some power play goals out of the Washington Capitals tonight, as Calgary needs to stay out of the box, but we know Calgary sometimes just doesn't do what they need to get done. This is the first game of a really hard road trip here for the Calgary Flames. Their next game will be the Lightning on Thursday, but they face like the Florida Panthers, the Carolina Hurricanes. It's just a brutal stretch for them here. When I look at a couple of players that I want to circle, you guys know we're going to Ovi for the anytime goal. Let's just pull up odds on those goal scorers right now. Ovi is -105. Can Ovi get 2 goals? Now, if Dan Vladar is in that, I will take Ovi for 2+ goals tonight, coming in at +550. If it is Dustin Wolf, I do have faith in him limiting Ovi to 1, -105 for Ovi for the 1 goal. Now, Nazem Kadri, we don't bet on the road for Calgary, so take him off your goal scoring list. While he might get on the board, we have better chance of Jonathan Huberdeau, and Huberdeau, you're actually getting better value. Nazem Kadri's at +220. He becomes silent on the road. Jonathan Huberdeau, on the other hand, has been nice and solid. He's coming in at +260. Now, a player you can look at for their assists is coming in here at John Carlson. His assists tonight, actually his point tonight is -102. Let's see what his assist is sitting at. Carlson at +134 for his assist. We look at John Carlson, and he's riding an 8-game point streak. He was able to get 2 points in that last game versus the Edmonton Oilers. And in the 7 games prior, all of those, he was able to put 1 point up on the board. Now, he's on the top defensive pairing, and he's on the top power play unit as well. So I do expect John Carlson to have a day out there on the ice. That top line with Dylan Strome and Tom Wilson is where Ovi is sitting. Now, Ovi is 13 goals away, so at -105. I know it's juice, but I do think it's a solid way. Now, Calgary has struggled in Washington. They've only won 1 of the last 5 in Washington and 1 of the last 6 meetings overall versus them. So I do think it's going to be a struggle in this one tonight. Ovi has 17 goals and 16 assists in 26 games versus the Flames in his career. The last meeting this season, he had 4 shots on goal and 0 goals. Now, goal number 30 for Ovi tonight. So you have to count on him for the 30th goal tonight. 2+ goals again coming in at +550. And that's going to depend for me if it's Dan Vladar or Dustin Wolf. Well, now, can he get 2 goals on Dustin Wolf? Absolutely, because the Washington Capitals are feeding Ovi nonstop. My thing here with what they're doing is anytime those empty netter situations or the power play situations, they are giving Ovi the puck to be able to shoot it hard on net. So we are seeing a team that is building around him. They're looking for him to not only get to Wayne Gretzky's record, surpass it at 13, but there's nothing more than the Washington Capitals would love right now than for Ovi to go over this with multiple goals over that number for the rest of the season. So we're looking at 24 games left for the Washington Capitals after tonight, and I'm looking for another goal, at least, probably 2 out of Ovi. So it will all depend on the goaltending there, you guys. Okay, let's move on to the next game. As for Calgary, yeah, just Jonathan Huberdeau. That's who I would look at. He's 56 games, 21 points, 21 assists. He had an assist Sunday versus the San Jose Sharks, points in the last 5 games as well. Last time versus the Capitals, held off the board, but he is on that top line with Nazem Kadri, Conato, and on the top power play, he's added with Uyghur and Morgan Frost. So I do like his ability. Power play goal could come in. Yeah, it could. Calgary has a okay power play out there, but we do have a strong kill for the Capitals. Let's look at the Anaheim Ducks. The Anaheim Ducks are taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Now, let me just pull up lines for this one, you guys, as I dove into those goal scorers. So the Anaheim Ducks are a plus 160 dog, and the Buffalo Sabres at minus 194. You know we can't bet that. The puck line here is really interesting for the Ducks, plus 1.5, but the juice is way too high at minus 164. The Ducks have been able to keep all of their games tight. Now, they've played the last 3 games going to overtime, which is crazy. You know they got to start getting tired legs out here. The Buffalo Sabres coming off a nice big win. Total 6.5. Juice to the under at minus 134. So when we look at this matchup here, John Gibson expected for the Anaheim Ducks. You guys know my lack of faith in John Gibson. If it is Dostal, I would have more faith in him. Now, in that last game for the Anaheim Ducks, they went down early. The Red Wings came out nice and strong, and then the Red Wings end up losing in OT. The Buffalo Sabres, Lankaken expected in goal. They got that nice win 8-2 Saturday over the Rangers. That first period, they just kept scoring and scoring and scoring and scoring. It was nonstop out there for the Buffalo Sabres. They're at the Carolina Hurricanes on Thursday, and the Anaheim Ducks are back home on Thursday versus the Vancouver Canucks. Now, when we look at how these teams are sitting out there on the road, the Ducks are 12-12-5 on the road and 14-12-3 at home here for the Buffalo Sabres. The Buffalo Sabres won the last meeting in a low-scoring 3-2 style game. I think this one starts off hot. I'm not totally confident in the full game over 6.5, but what I'm going to do is the first period over 1.5 goals. It's minus 128, and both teams to score in the first period at plus 168. I do think we see that fast start out of both of these teams. The Ducks, again, they've kept these games tight. They've lost the last 5 games, or their last 5 games have been 1-goal games. So they've either lost by a goal or won those games. They got the Saturday overtime win versus the Boston Bruins 3-2. Then they lost in overtime on Sunday to... They lose to on Sunday. I'm drawing a blank. They lost that one on Sunday in overtime. And then before the break coming out, they did get the win over the LA Kings in a shootout win. So this team has been playing crazy good. The player you want to look at here, Leo Carlsson. I'll look at Leo Carlsson for the goal tonight for the Anaheim Ducks. We know Trevor Zegras is out of the lineup. He's on suspension for a hit that he put on a Calgary player out there. Leo Carlsson has 5 assists and 6 points in his last 5 games, so he has been on fire. And then Tage Thompson, you know he got that scoring done in that last game. He was snubbed from the Four Nations, and you know he's wondering why. He's coming out with a little bit of vengeance. 51 points, 26 of those being goals. So I'll look at Tage Thompson and Leo Carlsson for the anytime goals. And I've got to play the number here. You know, you look at what we're getting for odds. The Anaheim Ducks at plus 160, minus 194 for the Sabres. I know the Ducks are not the stronger team, but it's kind of like a toss-up here. It's a coin toss. So for me, this should have been, you know, a minus 120 favorite here for the Buffalo Sabres and maybe plus 105 for the Anaheim Ducks, because we're not getting those lines. I've got to play the Ducks at plus 160. They have every opportunity of getting this win with how strong they have been playing. And yeah, this one absolutely could go to a draw. We could see this one going into OT as both of these teams battle it out. The Ducks have pushed the last 3 games to overtime, so we can see that happen again. So you're going with the Capitals and Toronto. I like where you're going there. Toronto, I think they're in a hard scheduling spot, but I could see them being able to get the win. Morgan Rielly, 2 points away from 500 in his career as well. Mo coming with the great stats today. I love it. You guys drop in those comments, those stats. We love to hear where players are hitting milestones. I try to bring you as many as possible. But on days like today, well, we got so many games going on. At some point, I have to say, okay, let's just get to those main bets, because I could dive into all of these players for hours on hours and hours. As it is, it's probably like 4 hours of diving into the numbers and where we can find value for a regular show. So it's crazy. I want to put in the work so that you guys get as much good information as possible. The Carolina Hurricanes and the Montreal Canadiens is the next game up on deck. Now, 7 p.m. Eastern, the puck will drop on this one. I'm just trying to find odds here on FanDuel. Now, Carolina rolls in at minus 215 on the money line. This team keeps so inconsistent on the road. I hate that they're such a big favorite. Now, if they're a minus 120 favorite, I could see it. Montreal, we know they've been scrappy and they've been able to pull off some crazy wins. They're coming in at plus 176 on the money line. They're coming off a couple of games in which they got the win over the Senators on the road. In that last one, 5-2. Now, their defense has been struggling. I'm going to give you that. Their defense has been allowing 3.5 goals on average over the last 10 games. So defensively, they need to step up. Sam Montague needs to do his share in between the pipes. But Carolina is 1-4 in their last 5 games, allowing an average of 3.6 goals. So we know Montreal is going to be able to score as well. They're off that game versus the Toronto Maple Leafs where they allowed the Leafs to put up 6. You know their defense will look to lock down, but with their inconsistencies they've had all year out there on the road, I can't trust them here in this one, especially as a $2 favorite. Now, road record 12-14-3, and we're looking at the Montreal Canadiens with that great plus money, and I'm going to bite you guys. I think the dogs are barking out there in some of these games on the ice, so give me the Montreal Canadiens at plus 176 on that money line at home. Now you can take the puck line plus 1.5 minus 142 if you're comfortable laying that juice. And also, I think a fantastic way to go is their team total. So before the puck line, before the money line, because we're getting greedy on that, plus money, I think you can look at Montreal's team total over 2.5 goals at minus 108. Win or lose here, I do think Montreal's getting 3 goals. So it's a matter of what you think we're going to see in this game. I do definitely think 3 goals here for Montreal. I more likely see them getting 4. I think this is a 4-3 style win for the Montreal Canadiens. But if it's a 4-3-1 for Carolina, we still get the over 2.5 goals with the Montreal Canadiens at minus 108. Now, Cole Caulfield has been great this season, 27 goals and 23 assists. I'm going to stay off props here for Carolina. I just don't trust Carolina on the road. Edmonton desperately needs a win. I love seeing them lose. You guys know that as a Calgary fan. Will they lose tonight versus the Tampa Bay Lightning is the question. This is a pick of minus 110 either way. We got a total of 6.5. That 6.5 is juiced to the over at minus 122, and rightly so. Even though the last time these teams matched up, we saw that lower scoring win by Edmonton 2-1. I don't see that happening in this game. Edmonton's lost their last 3. They lost both their games this weekend. The Washington Capitals, they lost 7-3 and we saw the Flyers them lose 6-3. When we're looking at the Tampa Bay Lightning, they came out nice and solid versus the Kraken. 4-1 win. I was kicking myself because I laid the 3.5 on the puck line and not the 2.5 on the puck line with the Tampa Bay Lightning. I just did the 1.5 and the 3.5. And I didn't take the 2.5 because they won that by 3 goals. So when the Kraken got that 1 goal on the board, I was mighty choked in that for sure. But we were able to still cash with Tampa in that. Third in the Atlantic here, the Tampa Bay Lightning have been playing great hockey. They've won their last 5 games now after getting that win versus the Seattle Kraken. Now their offense has been flying out there on the ice. They've scored 4 or more goals in 6 of their last 10 games. So against a defense of the Edmonton Oilers, lost both games this weekend. I don't think that defense is going to turn around really quick. Skinner in goal. I expect this to be that higher scoring game the books are looking for. 4-3 style OT win for one of these teams. I'll take this one to go to overtime at plus 320. Let's look at the goal scorers who are hitting milestones. Zach Hyman for goal number 20 tonight is coming in at plus 185 on the books. 19 goals and 14 assists on the season. I'll take Zach Hyman of the Edmonton Oilers to put the puck in the back of Andre Vasilevsky's net. And then Braden Point. How do we deny Braden Point? We don't. Braden Point for the power play point tonight, I love so much here at plus 240. He's looking for point number 60 tonight, 59 points, and that's comprised by 31 goals and 28 assists out there. So give me Braden Point for the power play point at plus 240. You could look at him for the regular point. The books have it locked right now. So just wait on that. You probably will have to parlay his regular point into something else because they're going to juice it. Now, Nikita Kucherov leads the Lightning, 83 points, 26 goals, 57 assists. Brandon Hagel has 64 points with 27 goals and 37 assists. So those would be the other playmakers if you just want to take Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov or Brandon Hagel in that mix for a point tonight parlayed together and get some plus money. That would be a great way to go. On the other side for Edmonton Oilers, we mentioned Zach Hyman for goal number 20, but I also look at Leon Draisaitl. We cashed on him this weekend. He was able to get us those goals in both of those games, even though Edmonton took those losses. Leon Draisaitl, 86 points. He's the top candidate for the Hart Award right now. He's got 42 goals and 44 assists. I think Leon Draisaitl continues to roll hot. Now, in that last game, while Connor McDavid wasn't able to score on Washington, which is a team that he always scores on, so he killed me. We did get him for his assist number 50. So he has 50 assists on the season, 22 goals. So 72 points here for the Edmonton Oilers star, Connor McDavid. So that is where we're going. Remember, Leon Draisaitl I like better than Connor McDavid to be able to get those points and the goals on the board. Okay, we're going to look at the New York Rangers and the New York Islanders, the Battle of New York. Now, you look at Igor's numbers, and right away, it's like Igor needs a bounce back. He got yanked in that first game of the weekend, but in that last game versus the Pittsburgh Penguins, he allowed 3 goals, but you look at the defense and the lack of support the Rangers gave him out there because he faced 40 shots on net. So 3 goals on 40 shots isn't as bad as those numbers really look. Now, the Islanders, Sorokin is great at home. But he did allow 4 goals to the Dallas Stars in that last game, out on 29 shots. So not great in that performance. I wasn't impressed. You guys know I was riding with the Isles. The Isles have just the worst special teams out there. Their power play can't connect. Their kill can't connect. And the Rangers have been playing hot. They've been able to score 4 more goals in 5 of their last 10. Their power play is solid at 21.2%. The Rangers seem like the right side to go with this one. It's all going to depend on which goaltender comes out hotter, Igor Shesterkin or Sorokin here. Now, I love Sorokin at home, so I'm leaning towards wanting to bet the Isles, but with the lack of performance out of both of these teams on the defensive side, as well as in between the pipes in the last couple, I just got to take this one over. Strong trends to the over when these teams meet. 6-1 in the last 7 to the over. It's going to be interesting to see who can win those face-offs because while the Isles, they can't kill anything to save their lives. They can't convert on the power play. They have one of the best face-off percentages at 55.2, while the Rangers coming in here at 53.6. So both of these teams so strong on the face-off. If you can control the face-off, you control the game. So look for a really interesting matchup between these two. I'm leaning towards the Isles with the plus it's minus 104 now. You were getting plus money before. They need to get back in the win column. They're at the Bruins on Thursday. And then they face the Rangers in Madison Square Garden on Monday. So these teams will square up again next Monday. I think it's a home and home kind of style win for these teams. The Rangers, though, have won 5 of the last 6 meetings. Chris Kreider listed day to day at the moment. Now, I do think because I like the over, I would rather take player props and take a side in this one. Panarin, 0.60 tonight. You know you got to love Panarin to come up for point number 60. So he has 59 points on the season, 23 goals and 36 assists. Adam Fox, I think, is a strong player to look at as well. I love offensive defensemen. You guys absolutely know that. He's got 47 points on the season, so 5 goals and 42 assists. JT Miller, 43 points, 13 goals and 30 assists. And then so Panarin for point number 60, parlayed with Mika Zibanejad for point number 40. Tonight, he's got 39 points, of course, with 12 goals and 27 assists. So I will take Zibanejad and Panarin, parlay them together for their point tonight. You're going to get plus money. And then on the other side, Bo Horvat looking for goal number 20 tonight. 41 points, 19 goals, and 22 assists. I'll take Bo Horvat for the anytime goal. So this should be a great one. Look for those goals to come in. You're going to add in Jake Gunsel. The Habs are 1-9, 10 games versus the Canes. Yeah, the Carolina Hurricanes have dominated versus the Habs. That is for sure, but I can't trust their inconsistencies on the road. Let's look at the Florida Panthers now. Still, I'm not finding an update on Matthew Tkachuk. It's been up and down. Coaches talking about it, saying they're worried, they're not worried. I'm not sure where we're going with Matthew Tkachuk. A lot of talk around, was the Four Nations worth it for him to play in, especially for the Florida Panthers. Now, the Florida Panthers rolling in it as a minus 150 favorite. Minus 162 now as that juice ticks up versus the Nashville Predators. Predators at home at plus 134, total 5.5, minus 134 to the over 5.5. And we're looking at the under coming in at plus 110. Looking at this matchup, you guys, it's really interesting here with the goaltending. Bobrovsky in net for the Florida Panthers. He doesn't have the best numbers versus the Nashville Predators. He's got a 3.12 goals against average, a save percentage of 900. And then Saros for the Preds, he's been lights out. 12 career games versus the Florida Panthers, and he's got a 926 save percentage, of 2.74 goals against average. I'm going to take a shot with the price we're getting here on Nashville at plus 134. I do think they can come out strong and win that first period. First period money line here for the Nashville Predators at plus 120. I might even take them all puck line in this game. I've just got this weird feeling that Florida is going to come out flat again in this one because this is a one-off road game. They're off the loss at home to the Seattle Kraken 2-1 on Saturday. They have to come out on the road for this one game, and then they're home versus the Oilers on Thursday. It's going to be such a look-ahead situation to the Edmonton Oilers versus a Nashville Predators team. They're not sitting in their division. The Preds are pretty inconsistent, 7th in the Central. We're sitting 2nd in the Atlantic here with the Florida Panthers. They're 17-11-1 on the road. It makes so much sense that Florida should be able to get that win. But after Florida seen the Preds lose that last game to the Devils, being shut out 5-0, I think they underestimate what the Preds are able to do. So the Preds off an embarrassing loss. Look for them to come out strong in the first period. I'll take puck line or money line first period plus 120. You don't even have to take puck line. You could do all puck line laying a half a goal, but then you have that push ability here to get your money back. I do think it's a lower scoring game. Give me the under 5.5 at plus 114. I think both of these goaltenders stand in their heads, and Saros has the stronger ability to get the win. Now, the last time they matched up back in November, it was a 6-2 win by the Florida Panthers. But when we look at their heads-to-heads over the last 3 games, 2 games combined for 11 goals. So other than this 6-2 one. So we have seen those lower scoring games between them. The Florida Panthers have dominated this matchup in Nashville as well, winning 7 of the last 9. So I understand if you don't want to take it. For me, I can't lay the juice with Florida with this price. For me, it's the Predators or nothing. So it'll be Predators first period money line. If they go down, I probably will come back on them for the full game puck line. JT Miller, yeah, you got to love what JT Miller has been able to bring to the table. So he has been hot. He loves playing with the Rangers. He needed to get out of Vancouver, that is for sure. I'm sure don't understand what happened there. Let's look at the Seattle Kraken and the St. Louis Blues. And if you guys have been following Puckett with Joe for a while, you know exactly where I'm going after this weekend's bets with the Seattle Kraken. We're going right back to it now. We're going to take the under 2.5 goals. They're facing the St. Louis Blues. The Kraken are coming in here, plus 128 on the money line. I don't trust them. Minus 154 for the St. Louis Blues. Too gross on that money line to bet that. Total of 5.5. But I do think the St. Louis Blues could come in and win this by multiple goals, laying 1.5 goals on that puck line at plus 168. The Seattle Kraken with Joey Decord in net tonight. This offense hasn't been stepping up. They're off the loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-1, and they did beat the Florida Panthers, but they beat them 2-1. So our under 2.5 goals still cash. The under 2.5 goals in this matchup for the Seattle Kraken coming in at minus 106. Now, if you want to play St. Louis thinking they get even a 4-2 win, I think it's more like a 4-1 win. St. Louis over 3.5 goals is plus 138. They won the last matchup in October 3-2. And in that matchup, the Kraken put up a ton of shots on Binghamton. So we're going to look at Binghamton's save shots on goal. We'll see if they're giving us anything here. We loved Binghamton in that last game versus the Colorado Avs, coming in with that confidence after being able to win for Team Canada. He was definitely the hero out there. So I'm looking for Binghamton to continue his success. We also look at him versus the Kraken in his career. 4-1 record in 5 games with a 2.53 goals against average and a 918 save percentage. So I'm looking for Binghamton to really step up again tonight, because you look at the Kraken in the last 3 meetings, they put up 32 shots on Binghamton, 36 shots on Binghamton, and 31 shots on Binghamton. So they've also, the St. Louis Blues have won 8 of the last 10. So if you're like the favorites, this is a game where I'm loving the favorites. I'll take the Blues first period puck line, laying a half a goal at plus 164. I think that's the best way to go. Look for the St. Louis Blues to come out really strong with that confidence, hit the Kraken early in this one, and then hopefully hold on to that lead. We just need them leading by a goal in that first period. Okay. Actually, I want to look at Binghamton's, if we've got it posted. Binghamton isn't confirmed. So that is the, Binghamton is confirmed here. Binghamton's total saves is coming in at over 23.5 at minus 114. The St. Louis Blues, while they can be strong defensively, have been allowing those shots to come in. So definitely take Binghamton over 23.5. Save shots on goal at minus 114. I do think this is an opportunity to ult it. We've seen the Seattle Kraken put up 31 or more shots on his goal in those last 3, some of those games up to 36. I would take Binghamton up to 28 plus save shots on goal tonight. That's coming in at plus 230. So 28 plus at plus 230 for Binghamton. I'm writing this down because I have to get this in as soon as we are done here. But if you just want to take him at 27 plus, that's coming at plus 182. Again, that original number is over 23.5 save shots on goal at minus 114. I think you play a ladder. So if you do the 24 plus, which is what it's basically for the 23 at minus 114, the 25, I wouldn't touch. It's just plus 114, but I'd hit it at 26 plus save shots, 27 plus save shots at plus 182, and 28 plus save shots at plus 230 for a sprinkle on each of those as you continue to ladder that up. Now, could he come out and get 31 save shots on goal? Absolutely he could. That's coming in at plus 450. So that would be my highest for a little bit of a sprinkle at plus 450 for Binghamton, 31 plus save shots on goal. Now, remember, the St. Louis Blues, there's trade rumors around this team. Look for Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou to really step up, and Jake Neighbors. I do think they are able to get those goals on the board today. So definitely you want to look at those players and put them together. Okay, Kev, let's freaking roll. I love that you're going with that first period money line with me, or puck line with me for the St. Louis Blues. We got 2 games left, you guys, and then we'll jump into that recap. We're going to look at the Red Wings here versus the Minnesota Wild, and then we'll look at the Chicago Blackhawks versus the Utah Hockey Club. So looking at the Red Wings versus the Minnesota Wild, this one has a total of 5.5. We just did see this. You're not having a deja vu at the moment with the Wild winning that last game after the Red Wings started off strong. This total sitting at 5.5, minus 104 to the under. The Wild at minus 114, minus 105 here for the Red Wings. So the lines have been fluctuating. The Red Wings earlier this morning, I got them at plus 120. And if you didn't get that number, I'm not sure at minus 104 I'd jump on it, even though I do think that they can get the win here. I'm just not loving the value now we're getting on it. The Columbus Blue Jackets will be on deck for the Red Wings at home on Thursday. The Minnesota Wild have the rest advantage because we did see these teams play on Saturday with the Wild getting that 4-3 win. But then the Red Wings had to play on Sunday, and they played the Ducks, and they got a 5-4 overtime win. So the rest advantage definitely here with the Wild. Gustafsson versus Cam Talbot. This one screams under to me all day long. I love the under 5.5. So the under 5.5 at minus 104. I think it's the best bet now. The Red Wings, I do think if you're getting better value than I'm seeing on FanDuel at the moment at minus 105 is the way you want to go with the Red Wings. But at that value, I won't hit on it. I already got them at plus 120. And last but not least, I do think we've got a road dog barking here in the Chicago Blackhawks. At least we got to play the number. Chicago coming into Utah plus 215 on that money line. The Utah Hockey Club at minus 265. Why? Can someone explain this to me? Utah has sucked at home this season. Maybe if they were on the road, but then I like Chicago at home. Yes, we know Chicago's inability to put the puck in the back of that freaking net. They have to find a way to get it done. We know Tara Vinen was able to get a goal in that game versus Columbus, and look for Tara Vinen and Connor Bedard to really step up in this matchup. Total of 6.5, the juice to the under 6.5. Now, if you want to look at the puck line for Chicago, plus 1.5 at minus 118, or or if you think Utah is going to get a big win at home, -1.5 at -104. For me, this is Chicago all day long. Yes, they're off a loss to the Leafs 5-2. And Utah is off a win versus Vancouver 2-1, but they caught Vancouver in a spot where Vancouver just did not come to play. They have the Wild on deck on Thursday. So give me the Chicago Blackhawks money line. This is a play of the number. And yes, Connor Bedard, you beat me to it, Mo, is 1 point away from 50 on the season. I look at Connor Bedard for that anytime goal as well. And Donato coming in 1 goal away from 20 on the season. Talbot can give up those goals, absolutely, but he can also lock down. So that is for sure. Did I choose the Ducks money line or the Sabres money line? I took the Ducks on the money line because of that value. We're getting the Ducks at such a good price there on the money line that I can't pass up. So let's just pull up those odds again. For the Anaheim Ducks, they're coming in at +160 versus the Buffalo Sabres. I can't lay that price with the Buffalo Sabres in the first place. And with how the Ducks have been playing, they have every opportunity to get things done. Yeah, Kev, you're right. The Blackhawks do come out nice and strong, and then they let those games go. So if you want to look at the Blackhawks first period money line, I don't blame you. Come in nice and hot. And then if Utah fights back, then Utah fights back. So I don't hate that as well. I could see both teams coming out strong in that first period, both teams being able to score. And I think we could see 3 goals in that first period as well. I don't trust Vejmelka in net tonight for Utah. So let's do the recap, you guys, and then send you on your way. Again, I will recap those players within it as well. You guys, it's been 46 minutes. So let's get to this recap. Everyone that's hung around for the last 46 minutes, you are champs. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I love you guys jumping into that chat, dropping all of those comments, because it's what makes this show so great live. It's the only platform I'm able to, on Pocket with Joe, interact with you guys. And I love that so very much. So thank you so much. Okay, we're going to recap here. What are we at? 47 minutes almost. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Philadelphia Flyers. I'm going to take the first period over 1.5 goals. That's coming in at -110, and both teams to score in the first period at +190. I'm also going to look at Sidney Crosby tonight for the anytime goal at +165. Raquel coming in here looking for point number 50 tonight. I'm going to, because of that, take Sid and Raquel both for a point at +111. When we look at the other side here for the Flyers, Michkov has 39 points. Give me Michkov for point number 40 tonight. And then Owen Tippett and Travis Konecny are your players I would look at as well for those points. The Dallas Stars and the Columbus Blue Jackets, we have Ottinger versus Elvis. I do think Columbus at home is a dead play on their team total. Over 2.5, my favorite bet at -122 for the Columbus Blue Jackets. And I do think sprinkling on that money line at +150 is definitely worth a shot. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the Boston Bruins. Toronto struggled in Boston. Give me the home dog in the Boston Bruins tonight at +120. Home teams won the last 5. I would look at Austin Matthews, though, to be able to light the lamp. He's going to be frustrated after not being able to score in Boston in that last matchup. But Brad Marchand and Morgan Geekie for the points for Boston. The Calgary Flames and the Washington Capitals. You know we're hitting on Ovi here for goal number 30 of the season tonight. That's coming in at -105. 2+ goals if it is Dan Vladar and not Dustin Wolf's coming in at +550, and I will hit that for Ovi. We know he's chasing Wayne Gretzky, so look for him to roll continuously hot. Look at John Carlson for the assist tonight for the Washington Capitals. He's on an 8-point streak here in his he's on a point streak the last 8 games. That's 9 points because he did get 2 points in that last game out. And then Huberdeau here for his goal tonight versus the Washington Capitals for the Calgary Flames. I think he's able to get on the board as well. I do think Washington wins this at the end of the day. Calgary's really struggled here in Washington as well as on the road. And the power play is so strong here for the Washington Capitals. The kill is weak for Calgary. The Anaheim Ducks and the Buffalo Sabres, we will see a higher scoring game in this one for sure, in my opinion. I think the over 1.5 in the first period at -128 and both teams to score in the first period is where you want to go at +168. I'll look at Leo Carlson for the goal for the Ducks, Tex Thompson for the goal for the Buffalo Sabres. Remember, Trevor Seacrest is out of the lineup right now for suspension for the Ducks, but I still think the Ducks at +160 Got to play the number here. Their last 5 games, last 3 games have all been overtime games. They were able to get a shootout win in overtime. One of the overtime wins, 1 overtime loss, but their last 5 games have been a win or a loss by 1 goal. So look for the Ducks to keep it tight. The Carolina Hurricanes and the Montreal Canadiens. Give me Montreal in the first period on the puck line, or actually just money line because we're getting them as a home dog. Plus 140 on the money line. I do think Montreal's team total is the best bet, over 2.5 at minus 108. The Edmonton Oilers versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. This one has 4-3 style game written all over it for me. Give me the overtime bet at plus 320. Now we got to look at players for their milestones tonight. Zach Hyman for goal number 20 at plus 165. Braden Point for point number 60 tonight. I think it comes on the power play. So power play point for Braden Point at plus 240. Gotta love that freaking applause money, you guys. Leon Draisaitl, we've been riding him out of the break. He was hot before the break. Let's keep riding him here for that anytime goal tonight. Connor McDavid did get that 50 assists. He was held off the board in the last one for a goal, though. Nikita Kucherov has been so strong, as well as Brandon Hagel here. I do think you just you parlay a bunch of these players for their points tonight. It's going to be a goal fest, even though the last one was a 2-1. So give me the over in that game and overtime. The New York Rangers and the New York Islanders. This is a hard one. It's going to depend on which goaltender steps up and plays the game that they're supposed to play, because both of these goaltenders have had their issue. I think I'm going to stay off a side here. I lean to the over in this one because these teams get chippy between each other, and we should see those power play conversions, especially for the New York Rangers. I'm going to look at Panarin for point number 60 for the Rangers tonight. I'm also going to look at Adam Fox I'm going to take a long shot on Adam Fox for a goal tonight. JT Miller has been rolling hot like you guys throughout, and I love Mika Zibanejad for point number 40. So parlaying Panarin and Zibanejad for their point tonight because they're hitting milestones tonight, I do think is a really strong way to go. And Bo Horvat here for the Isles for goal number 20 tonight is something I will be hopefully cashing, definitely hitting on. The Florida Panthers and the Nashville Predators. Give me the Predators first period money line here at plus 120. I do think it's worth a look at them for the full game as well. I think this one stays under the total of 5.5. Look for the goaltending matchup here. Bobrovsky versus Saros, for Saros to be the stronger goaltender. He's proven that he can be in this matchup in the prior games. The Seattle Kraken and the St. Louis Blues. Give me Binghamton here. Save shots on goal, ulting it up. Go as high as you want. I'm going to take Binghamton up to 31. Did I go 31? Did I go 32? Did I go 33? I laddered it up. His save shots on goal, 24.5. It's weirdly low. Do the over at minus 114. And then I wouldn't do the 26, but I'd hit 27 plus, 28 plus, 29 plus. I'd look at that range for Jordan Binghamton because we know the Seattle Kraken, they can't light the lamp. They've been absolutely struggling. We've played them under 2.5 goals in the last couple of games coming out of the break, and that has cash for us even in their wins. I'm going to play the under 2.5 at minus 106 here. But in the last 3 matchups versus St. Louis, they've been able to put up those shots on goal. They put up 32, 36, and 31. I expect at least 30 shots out of the Seattle Kraken, 34 more than likely, but this team to continue to struggle to light the lamp. The St. Louis Blues have dominated this matchup, winning 8 of the last 10. Again, trade rumors. Look at Jordan Binghamton for a really elite game, but then Jordan Kyrou, Robert Thomas, Jake Neighbors to answer back for the Blues and get those goals on the board. The Detroit Red Wings and the Minnesota Wild. I do think, even though we saw the Wild win the last matchup and did have the rest advantage because the Red Wings have had to play since, I would look at the Red Wings here to pull it off. Now, the problem is the money line has moved. I got it at plus 120 earlier in the day. It's now minus 105 and ticking up. You're starting to see that pressure to it moving again. The under 5.5 is definitely where I want to go in this matchup. Cam Talbot and Gustafson. I think we got another goaltending battle here. And then Chicago versus Utah. Play the freaking number. Take the Chicago Blackhawks at plus 210, I believe that money line was. I do think Chicago will come out and put up a fight. Now, Kev threw out a good point. Chicago sometimes comes out stronger to start and lets these games go. If you want to take them first period, you can as well. I do think this is going to be a game where Chicago has every opportunity to get the win and pull pull it off. So you're going with 3 possible draws tonight. The Hawks versus Utah. Absolutely, that could happen. The Cats and the Preds and the Ducks and the Sabres. I don't blame you for taking all 3 of those to go to overtime. I think you can throw in the Edmonton Oilers and the Tampa Bay Lightning as well. You guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. You guys are the best. Thank you again for joining me here for Puck It with Jo on the daily. Make sure you join me back here tomorrow. We'll have another loaded slate, and then join me for my Cup of Jo. Yesterday, college basketball was fantastic. We got crushed on the Hawks game versus Miami. How did those players not come to play? We saw a total of 231 in that one. I took it to the over, expecting these teams to go up and down the court. We saw like these teams combined for under 190 points. It was disgusting. So I'm disgusted with that. We lost on that with the Cup of Jo. We did hit Josh Giddey for the double-double at plus 130. We got his points, rebounds, and assists over 27.5 for the Chicago Bulls as well. So hopefully you tailed that. And then you also took Kansas and Colorado to the under. We hit that one to the under, and we hit Houston's team total over 66.5. So stay tuned for the Cup of Jo. You definitely want to look at what I'm playing out there on the hardwood today in that. But you guys, we'll be back here tomorrow, noon Eastern on SportsGrid TV on X. Again, I appreciate you guys so freaking much. If you can just do me the one favor, hit that like button, hit that retweet button, and hit the subscribe button over on YouTube. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. All the best and all your best. Hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some freaking money. It's time for Puck It with Jo.